days we miss them. It didn't take too long to find the truth inside that bottle. Cast to sea so long ago was a message from my father. You keep your heart above your head and your eyes wide open, so this world can't find a way to leave you cold. And no, you're not the only ship out on the ocean. Save your strength for things that you can't change. Forgive the ones you can't, you gotta let it go. Say I regret it, and all the places that I've ended up not the way Ma would have had it. But you only get one chance in life to leave your mark upon it. When a pony he comes riding by, you better set your sweet ass on it. And keep your heart above your head and your eyes wide open, so this world can find a way to leave you cold. And no, you're not the only ship out on the ocean. Save your strength for things that you can't change. Forgive the ones you can't, you gotta let it go. Like a sweet sunset in Georgia, let it go. Like a fear that grabs a hold you, let it go. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, you let it go. La 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 la, la la la. Keep your heart above your head and your eyes wide open, so this world can find a way to leave you cold. And no, you're not the only ship out on the ocean. Save your strength for things that you can't change. Forgive the ones you can't, you gotta let it go. Learn to let it go.
Excuse me, sir. Would you bring that microphone next to you, sir? No, you pull it. Just pull it. Just take it out of its socket. There you go. Okay. Thank you. On the ordinance 0704. Okay. On the length swap with Sleep Hollow. Right. I want to just remind you when you get this ordinance to remember that they refused to reconnect Geddes Lane. So they're not allowed you to finish your plans which you started in 1997. So keep in mind that, okay? People give a property to the developer. Okay? So just want you to keep in mind that, because I don't like that. I'm talking about land swap.
This is where the law levels that was the developer provides us with land in excess of what we provide.
Yes, because if you have to do something in the land swap, you have to get something back, all right? For the benefit of the good of the resident or water, right?
Yes, so I believe on that ordinance, and I may be incorrect. We'll actually receive more land than we give.
Yes, but
2 to 1, right?
Right. The way it was this development went not wrong. I tell you, the first thing that they did, they refused to finish a project that started in 1997 with the community and with the planning board, their plans. That's why they come out with Gage Lane, a stop road. They refused to have a cul-de-sac there, purposely because they were an extension of the road. Basically, it's an extension of Isabel Lane. So keep in mind this, that road has to go through. There's no reason why not go through. I can find no reason why not go through, but there is a lot of plans that can use it. As a matter of fact, there's an original plans. It goes right through from Gage Lane through Mount Bell Road. They have their own property to use it. The town doesn't have to give any public property to them to benefit a private development. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the agenda item? Yes, come on up. Please give your name and address.
Roland here, 11 Hillcrest Boulevard. I don't know whether this is the right time now, but I want to talk about the access.
Yes, you can go ahead and respond to
have discussion.
Go ahead.
On the discussion, okay. The last time when, I think it was in December, when the topic came up, was discussed here in front of the Township Committee, and there was discussion about putting up gates and speed bumps and all kinds of little things. Now, as I understand it, and I was in every planning board meeting, back in June of 2005, the access road was a precondition of even letting the whole project to be approved. Okay. And now I don't see why all of a sudden we have gates. There was a discussion of gates and there was a discussion of speed bumps. This is supposed to be a full access road to be used to alleviate the traffic at Hillcrest Boulevard. So is there any news or any status or any change now? Yes.
I just believe it was discussion. As we discussed anything, there were no decisions to do that at this point.
But also the access road is supposed to be put in first before any other building is supposed to start.
Correct. So I understand that what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, you would like to see the Township Committee allow that access road without any obstruction to traffic. Well, is that what you're saying?
It's supposed to be a full access, right? So everybody uses it, because as soon as you put in speed bumps or you put in gates, nobody will use it again. Everybody else will just use Hillcrest Boulevard as before.
Okay, and you believe it's necessary for that development?
Oh, absolutely. You need an access road. That's the whole reason why it was approved. Without the access road, you would have a nightmare of traffic at Hillcrest Boulevard, right? Even now coming tonight, I had to fight traffic to come out onto Mangappa Road. Yeah.
Well, I believe the reason why we discussed it as a committee, all the alternatives, so that people like you could hear that and come out and give us your opinion. We thank you.
When is there going to be a decision made tonight on the
Mr. Crane?
We'll be discussing it tonight.
Yeah. It's not written as an ordinance for vote.
It's a discussion item on tonight's discussion.
Okay, it's a discussion, so the discussion continues. So if you stay for another half hour, you'll be able to hear our...
There were options that we were discussing, because some of us were not happy with the road through the park because of the children using the fields. And you heard the discussions earlier.
Right.
And so you will stay for a while, you see.
You'll have another opportunity after our discussions
to comment again.
Continue comment.
Yeah.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment on any agenda items?
Let's go.
Yes, come on up. Oh, you have to come up and give your name. It's protocol.
Is quite in a different, different end of the spectrum, Kevin, to what, you're talking about.
And I want to address your problem.
And I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
Let me tell you one at a time. Number one is we can't go through the township property, not only because it's too close to the intersection, because you're right, maybe you could engineer around it, but because the wetlands is more than 100 feet wide.
You can't bridge it?
No. Once you put, first of all, anything, even if you raise it above and put on pillars, that's basically, I forget the exact term, but it's, once you shade the vegetation, you effectively destroy the vegetation. That's the whole point. You don't interrupt the flow, and that's really what wetlands are all about, not just vegetation. People smarter than me have told me that, and by the way, we retain a special environmental attorney. Lloyd Tubman, if you know her, she's like one of the brightest people in the state, to help us. I mean, I can't tell you, when I told you we put this whole job on the hold for a year to investigate these options, we did. Now, the second one is coming down here.
People on Hillcrest Boulevard are looking for a way out, and we want to provide for them. Our real concern was emergency services and how to get to 100+ acres in that site, and I think this provides a good emergency servicing as well as provide access for those residents as well. So it has twofold. Second of all, I think the county's been dragging their feet. No one wants to say who should take the lead. So for a year and a half, everybody's saying, well, let Warren Township make the decision. Now the county doesn't want to make it. So I'm going to throw some things on the wall, and then let's see where they fly. I would like to see this access go through to help the residents of Hillcrest, but more importantly, give us an emergency service into that park and another access into the park, which I think will be important. As part of that condition, I would like to see one as the smallest road width-wise that's available to put in there, non-curved. I'd like to see it have speed limits on it, maybe not to exceed 20 miles per hour. I'd like to see what we call calming, conditioning hump bumps in there, maybe one or two. As you can see from that turn, that you would have to make a hard left. There should be a stop sign there. I think burden to the developer that should help our community and help the park, which is to make that park go to another level. I think that all the parking lots over there should be paved at the expense of the developer. I think that he should pay for all the striping of it, so we have equal parking for all our people who want to participate into those fields and soccer and to walk into those parks. I think as well as that, I want to see country-style fencing alongside the roadway. I want to see protective fencing along the parking area so children can't cross. And I think as well, I'd like to see, to really bring this up, I'd like to see since developer is adding that development in, I'd like him to see him bring a sewer line, to provide a sewer line to that development in there, to provide for a men's and women's restroom for those kids with a pavilion that will cover some shelter. And if he's willing to do that, and I think that would really help the needs of all the residents, it help the needs of the people there, as well as the people who want to use the park.
Mr. Murray, you ready to agree to those conditions? Is that why you stood up?
I think you don't have a chance to say something. Put your money in your pocket.
The question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That yes is not the yes to your question. But yes, I'm going to stand up and say something. I was going fine with your comments until you got to the conditions. The conditions as to the smallest in width, and the non-curbing, the 20-mile-per-hour speed limit, common bumps, and then we got to the parking lot paved. You're talking about all the parking lots in the entire county park system?
No, the parking lots that he's showing there would be accessing those two soccer fields. And I think that he would be increasing the parking lot so we would have more parking for those.
Can you show us the exhibit that we're talking about here? It may not be a big effort there to do that.
You see it to the left there and
in the center?
this one there?
One on the left and then the one that's sort of the two existing fields.
Yes.
Our client says yes.
Okay. Is that all you had to say?
No, he's not finished.
That doesn't surprise me.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important for that park. The park's important to the residents there.
Well, the park's existing now is going to be expanded, and I'm assuming that there are sanitary facilities that are in place somehow.
No, there aren't.
Porta John?
Yes, we are.
And this is going to be requested as a condition of the township's approval for us to extend a roadway approximately how many feet?
Well, 120 to where they do.
Yeah, that roadway is going
We're building the whole thing over.
Let me check. Can I
I'm not saying
from
the
a
township
sewage
committee, I'm saying my...
From a sewage authority perspective, I don't know if the park is in the stage 1 and 2 sewer treatment area. If it is, there is no sewer capacity.
No, it's not in stage 1 and 2. It's on the brink of going to the Middlebrook and then over.
Working with Mr. Donato, if in fact you get the consensus for this board and Green Acres approval. So what I want to do now...
Mr. Mayor, what about my last... I don't want you to leave that one out. I went that far.
Not letting you go.
Which one was that?
Well, I mean, the sewer part we talked about, but I mean, I'm seriously would like to see if he would build us a small pavilion that would provide for restrooms for the kids with a little pavilion shelter.
No. I'll build the road, I'll put the fence in, I'll spend the $300,000 or $400,000, but at some point, we'll see how far the sewer is,
and I'll bring the sewer to the point. But I can't build a pavilion and build everything. What we'll do, we'll go back to the original plan, where I don't have to do any of this, and I'll save $400,000. I'm willing to be fair, but I'm a businessman. We'll see how many feet the sewer is. If it's not too many feet, I will bring the sewer to the premises. I'll bend over backwards and try to accommodate. But at some time, I've been 31 months with this project at $25,000 a month. I'm $800,000 now into this. So we have to, at some point, I have to become a businessman.
Well, if you'd done this maybe a long time ago, you could have saved the $800,000 and you could have built the Taj Mahal.
For some reason, we had to go to court.
Vic, you gave me a moment to speak.
They tell me how
I just need one
how
comment.
many feet the sewer is. If it's not that many feet, yes, I agree.
What do you call it back to a better feet? 100? 200?
No, let him tell me a minute.
No.
I don't know.
How many feet did you go?
Excuse me,
Let's
he can measure
That's not relevant.
2 minutes with his ruler, and he can tell me, and then I'll go from there.
Okay, Mr. Plague has one more comment, then I'm going to bring the public up, and then we'll go back into discussion. Mr. Plague, you had one more
Just really quick. The idea of what everybody has discussed is impressive. I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, you've come up with some good ideas. My basic problem is simple, and I do want to help the people on Hillcrest Boulevard. However, this road bisects the two fields. I don't care what you're going to do. That's an accident just waiting to happen with young children, especially with some of the things we heard earlier. And I just don't understand how you can just sit still and expect that people will creep along this road in any other form than they do in the way they speed through other roads in Warren Township. So my basic problem with it is exactly what I've said since I really started to look at it. It sits between the two fields, and I'm very concerned about the issue of children between field 1, field 2. And that's it.
Okay, let's let the public come up to make some comments, and then we will talk to the group.
Hang on.
3-minute comments. Yes, please give your name and address.
Gage, 51 Crest Boulevard. I've been dealing with my problem 8 years. I've been dealing with my problem and application 3 years. There's all this going on with the paradise lane. Okay? Mr. Page, why did you make an application for to get an access to on the road?
Excuse me, you're not, you're allowed to address us, not address an applicant or any member of the public.
And then I give you 2 reasons why you have to deny it. Look.
Excuse me, can we have council look at this first?
Here. Can you tell me what type of road is in Crest Boulevard?
I don't know what your question is.
The first page of the shows you the Crest Boulevard.
Okay.
And what type of road is that?
When you say what type of road, you say,
the river road, or I don't know.
oh, what classification?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. That's not my area of expertise. Does somebody know in this?
In that, all the copy, I give you all the police report, engineer report, federal report, environmental report. They're all against the Cintaro plans, and they're all against the local net Gage lane. They are all your employees, you employ them, you trust them, and they need to be at least trust what they are suggesting to do. I'm talking about Gage lane and plus the Cintaro.
Okay, please address the areas first.
Huh?
Please address us. You're speaking to us, correct?
This is the reason why I would like to know why Gage lane now when the planning board said they should want to be a start road, not a cul-de-sac, because they were proposing a cul-de-sac. So there's no way they want a cul-de-sac because they want to make sure that the road of Isabella Way, in Crest Boulevard Way, and loop, work I don't know where, I think it was Mountain Road. Okay. Now I want to know if this development is going to go through like this, how Gage lane, where's it going to go? That road, where's it going to go? So you have to figure out that way.
Gage Lane has been built. It's a private road, just like others in town. And the planning board, we're going by planning board decision. What you gave us is a lot of historical documents, but I don't believe that's relevant to what our decision is today. You may believe it is. As a resident, you have every right to express your opinion. And then the board will make a decision based on that. But do you have anything else to add?
You used to just say that the Gage lane is what?
Gittes Lane, I believe.
Mayor, if I could, the planning board on page 5 of the resolution, at the time Sleepy Hollow made a development proposal, examined whether the connection of Gittes Lane should be made, and in fact they decided it should not. And it said that the Sleepy Hollow there, it said the location of the cul-de-sac as proposed eliminates what would otherwise be a substantial negative environmental impact. And the planning board said bringing Gittes Lane through to the Sleepy Hollow development was fraught with negative environmental conditions, and that's why they did not require it. So that was a decision that the planning board made, Mr.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Okay, you have one more minute?
Now, I have all the time I have.
Unless the committee agrees to give you more than the 3 minutes.
Then I want the thing over here, because I want the police thing over here, I want it because I think it's the crime here.
Okay, that's fine with me. I have to create order.
There is a qualified plan, okay, over here. They're showing a qualified plan. They're showing 15 lots in the legal zone. The plans that they need to be approved, they show they have 18 lots. Now they tell me the connection of that is laying now is a problem because of the environmental, that would they already got to put more extra lots in where they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be. Okay? So what was the better plan in this area? When the environmental commission said they like better the qualified plan, which is this is not qualified. Because it's also not a golden class. You get a ordinance there. No more 24 rooms. In West Boulevard is already called the class. It's not true at all.
Okay, I think you probably should have brought that to the planning board. Well, then they made the decision.
Well, you know,
thank you.
I have no authority.
Thank you, Mr. Gage. I appreciate
I have no
it.
authority.
There's other people who want to speak.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? On this? Yes, come on up, please. Mr. Gage and Mr. Murray, could you please sit down? We have another person up here to speak. Okay, Mr. Gage, could you please get the floor? Yes, please.
Road and clear 11 Hillcrest Boulevard.
Yes.
If my recollection is correct, back in June 2005, when the planning board approved this whole project, the Sleepy Hollow, it was a precondition that this access road would be put in. And now today, all of a sudden, apparently Mr. Murray says they could go ahead even without this access road. So I'm a little confused. Now.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's really not. Our decision right now is whether we're going to let it through. The next phase would be him to see if he can do it without it. So I can't answer that question. I agree. That's what he said, and if it's accurate, then you may not be happy if we don't allow it through. But we haven't made that decision yet. But I appreciate your comments.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
This whole, going forward, I know it's so far seems to be the solution of the board by going through the forest, and you have access, and people are not going to use that road if you put in speed bumps, and obviously you have to do something to slow down traffic because you have children playing on the soccer field. But people are not going to use that road. They're still going to use Hillcrest for a while. Maybe there should be some thought given to the whole idea how do we get traffic off Hillcrest Boulevard and how so people can use the new exit for it.
That's a much, better thought.
Okay.
One thought would be maybe you make Hillcrest Boulevard a one-way road going in and up to the connection of the Sleepy Hollow. Yeah. And so everybody would have to use that road going out. Yeah.
Well, I think we may, as time goes by, have to adopt some changes, but we'll see how it. You believe they may not use it?
Maybe they should be made up front, though, because their own things don't get changed anymore. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Yes, come on up. Again, your name and address, although we know
Yeah,
you.
so I wanted to talk about this earlier, but I didn't think you wanted me to talk about it then. Kathy Winter, 18 Hillcrest Boulevard. I've gone to most of the planning committee meetings regarding this development of the property. I think Mr. D'Angelo has been a gentleman, throughout this whole ordeal. I think most of the residents on Hillcrest Boulevard throughout this entire process have been concerned about the addition of the homes because of the traffic impact. Because we, as residents there, without the addition of 20 homes, we'll say 60 to 90 additional cars on our road, cannot get out off of Hillcrest Boulevard. When they tried to take out the road years ago, they didn't take enough out, they didn't take enough off our street. There's numerous accidents there, whether they're reported to the police department or not. Even this week, I can tell you 3 accidents that happened going down when the little ice was there, that none of us did report to the police department, but I'm sure, you know, they were, you know, small fender benders, but then again, other people, children actually ended up going straight out into the road, and thank God, no car was coming up. So basically, we were all concerned about traffic.
Noreen Moreno, 7 Isabella Way. I also, with many of my neighbors, attended the Sleepy Hollow hearings. At that time, I wrote 2 letters to the planning board. I testified as well. You know that the concern is traffic. It has always been traffic, and we need another access. Also at that time, I had actually submitted a petition. You all have copies, so you can see what the will of the people is. We need that access. Do we want it to go through the park? If there was another way, we would gladly consider it. But we need a way out. I would like to address also this winter driving condition. In the letter I wrote of September 28, 2004 to the planning board, I did say that winter conditions cause a dangerous situation. I myself slid right into the road at 6:15 on the day we had cold, freezing weather. There's sheet flow from Hillcrest Boulevard that continues onto Mount Bethel Road and causes ice slicks. I myself have called the county. I have begged them, please put a pipe under there, fix that drainage. No action. When it snows, it's impossible to get up or down that hill safely. I drive a Saab. You'd think the Scandinavians would know something about snow. They don't. I've been the only one stuck there at times. I've asked that something be done, and it feels that my complaints fall on deaf ears. You, however, can do something. And we, the residents, rely on you to make the decisions that we are unable. We rely on you to make the proper decision. We must have access, and it must be access that is usable and full. It can't be a bunch of speed bumps and other things. As it is, Hillcrest Boulevard is very narrow. You would not believe the speeding problems we've had, and there's been terrible problems. Well, we all are concerned about children. No one seems to be concerned about the children on Hillcrest Boulevard. We've complained time and time about speeding. We have a narrow road that's dark with no lights, and that seems to fall on deaf ears. Yes, we don't really want to be, no one wants to be injuring children, but consider our children and our well-being. With Sleepy Hollow, we'll have about 80 houses out there. You cannot keep building cul-de-sac on cul-de-sac on cul-de-sac and expect that residents are going to be able to get in and out safely. Please do something. If that something happens to be access through the park, please give it to us. And I also have one idea that possibly will help Mr. D'Angelo. Mr. DiNardo, you had said that you would want sewers. Perhaps in lieu of that, bathrooms might actually be environmentally sensitive and conscious. Perhaps something else could be done instead of sewers. Maybe the waste can be processed in some way with solar panels or something else. We'd still need some sort of water, but maybe the waste can be accommodated in another way. And as Warren is very concerned with our new arboretum and being environmentally friendly, perhaps something could be worked out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, come on, please give your name. Oh, could you, I have to recognize this gentleman in the back first. Mr. Salvetti. He got up and down about 3 times, so if you don't mind. Hi, how are you? Please give your name and address.
My name is Anthony Salvia. I reside at 62 Hillcrest Boulevard. I agree to all of the things that have been said, especially from the lady before me. I have one suggestion which I suggested before, and that was knocked out of the box, about a road going from the development that's going to be there to Mount Bethel Road. There's 315 feet, 320 feet frontage there. I can't see any reason why the road cannot go there, or to Old Stone Road, and stay out of the field where children are playing, and stay off Hillcrest Boulevard. The people of Hillcrest and Isabella Way would appreciate it very much. to whatever you can do to keep the traffic off those two places.
Thank you.
I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I have our next guest? Well, this is a popular topic. Your name?
My name is Austin Bishop, and I'm a property owner here at 112 and 114 Mount Bethel Road. And I think I expressed earlier some of my concern, and actually tonight it seems to me that at least I've seen for the first time at least a reasonable proposal that looks like it could solve some of the problems here, but at least providing two accesses out. I guess my only concern would be is that if the road was granted for the development, when and if the park would actually implement and construct that road, and would it be done simultaneously, or would it be done reasonably close to the same time, so that the access to Old Sterling Road is done, and not just part of it done and the rest forgotten about?
I can answer that. I was on the committee. The Township Committee assigned me and Jack Henschel on the East County Park Reserve project. I can't predict that. It may be years before they do their part of it. But they did, as Mr. Page said, they do intend to run a road through there. Okay. But I can't tell you when it is because, you know, it's not a high priority on the county's list. I think it'll be years before it actually goes through, but it will go through eventually.
Well, it looks like that's a reasonable proposal to me.
Okay.
The only concern I have, and I guess you as a Township Committee will have to deal with it, and Mr. Donato, with all due respect, with your concern for aesthetics, I would forego that and concern myself in putting the priority safety first for the kids. And whether chain link fence, you like it or don't like it, the kids can't get through that, but they can get through a split rail fence. And also a split rail rot. And then who's going to replace it? And if you have children that have been around them, you know what I'm talking about. So I would forego that idea and not worry about the aesthetics. Okay? And I don't know about this. A couple of people have brought up the idea of the size of the road and so forth, and I think probably limiting the size and implementing speed bumps and bumps like that would be fine. But I do have the same concern that Mr. Flagler has about that road going through the park. And if it can be done in a safe way, maybe that might be the easiest alternative.
Thank you. Is there anyone else before I move back to... Okay, seeing no one else, I'm going to give Mr. Page one last word before I go through. What we will do after that, or Mr. Murray, what we'll do after that is go to the committee. They will say what their opinion is and whether they, if they have any more to say in whether they vote in favor or against it. Mr. Murray, who is going to conclude?
I'll take 15 seconds because I was explaining in the beginning the other options we'd looked at, and I forgot one option that I want you to know. As I told you, in driving, the most difficult turn is the left out to head towards the down. We actually had the traffic engineer, our consultant, approach the county about possibly putting a stop here at the top of the hill, right, to work in conjunction with the lights so it would free up the gap. County said, absolutely not. So we were hoping to say, look, when the light turns red by the gas station, let's let it stop at red over by Merrill Lynch, and maybe that'll free up enough spots. County said, absolutely not. So when I talk about the things we investigated, there's probably a few more I forgot, but I wanted to know we were looking at every option to help us.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Murray, 2 minutes, and then we'll go in here, and then we're closing off any other further discussion.
First 10 seconds. Our client has agreed to install a sanitary sewer line. The estimated distance is 2,000 feet. The estimated cost is $15 a linear foot. That's a cost of $30,000 or more. Or more. We'll do that. Secondly, another option was given during the course of the public hearing that when you approach the intersection of Hillcrest Road and Mount Bethel, widen that intersection on Hillcrest to 2 lanes as you are approaching on the right. So there won't be a queuing of traffic which wants to make a left turn. The traffic on the 2 lanes could go right. The neighbors, residents in the area objected to that. One of the reasons was that there would be tree removal on the right-hand side of Hillcrest as you approach Mount Bethel. Another reason was that cars in the right lane attempting to turn right would have their sight distance blocked by the SUVs and other vehicles on their left. But that was an option that we...
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to start across the room. I'll start with Mr. Salvato, Mrs. Garfola, Mr. Donato, and Mr. Plaga. Final comment in your position on this matter.
I'll go back to the half acre where they try to go out to the half acre lot. I mean, if that's a feasible place, let's try that. He wants $1 billion, he probably offered him $50. You can't get together on that, can you?
Okay, so your answer is?
Try another access.
So it's no to this?
Not yet.
Well, okay, well, so there are maybe. Which is it a yes or yes? Mrs. Garafola?
I have 5 reasons why we should support the proposal to go out through the park. 1, safety for Hillcrest Boulevard residents. 2, we're moving the road onto the side of the parking. 3, we're going to get a sewer line, which they would not have gotten if it wasn't for this project. 4th, that there's going to be a paved parking lot. And 5th, because we're looking at fencing, that would be a protection. So there are 5 reasons for me in support of it.
So your answer is yes?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Donato?
I would be in favor of it if, as what we had discussed before. I think that he's willing to do that. I think the most important is that the access to the park provides emergency services as well as access to the residents to use as well, along with what Caroline had said and what the options I said before.
Thank you. So we have 2 yeses and a maybe. Mr. Prager?
I think my position is still the same as it was before. I'm impressed by what you've offered. I want you to understand that. But I just can't walk away from the fact that there's a field on each side of the road. It just, if you can demonstrate to me in other locations that this has not been a problem with regard to children being hit, because you're talking about a full-service road where originally we weren't. We were talking about, limited access and emergency access in the way I understood it. That's changed quite dramatically so that what Mr. Page has shown is a very good design, but you're still putting it through. That's my problem.
Okay, so your answer is no?
At this point, yes. Okay. I would like to go where Mr. Solano is. I'd like to have that other lot investigated to see if that's possible. I still think that that would be an excellent idea if we could get there.
Okay, my answer is yes, I support the project. So we have 3 yeses and maybe and a no, so they have a go-ahead to go with it. Okay, move on to the next item.
Wait, before you go. Did he agree to put the sewer in? Did he agree to put the road in?
Yes, he said he told us how many feet.
Yes.
So we're all set. Okay, we're moving to the next discussion.